Hello, and welcome to all friends of the Culture Forum Berlin-Wrocław, the Culture Train Berlin-Wrocław, and of course all of you who enjoy the contemporary arts. My name is Oliver Spatz, and on behalf of Convivium e.V. Berlin, it is my pleasure to invite you to today's artist talk with the core team of the exhibition Lepsze Jutro, das bessere Morgen, that opened on February 25th in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. The only way to produce this amazing showcase was in the virtual space. But I can assure you that we can't wait to get together in real life as soon as possible. Before I will open the stage to my wonderful colleagues Natalie Wasserman here in Berlin and Joanna Stembalska in Wrocław, who's the curator of the show and in charge of the studio of BWA, the Gallery of Contemporary Arts in Wrocław, I want to thank the artists for their courage to participate in this experimental setup. And of course, our partners and sponsors, naming Strefa Kultury in Wrocław and the Senate for Culture in Europe to make this possible. Enjoy the talk, and now I'm giving the space over to Natalie and Joanna.
So, I also want to greet everyone and welcome you in this virtual space. We had a little talk before, and even if we work with this pandemic for over a year now, it's still very, very exciting to be in this virtual space, and it would be even more exciting if we could see each other in real life. But this is something that also will be one of the issues that we talk today. I wanted to ask Lukas Hoffmann. Yes, great. Because in your pictures, there's like you focus on the decay. And the decay seems very strong in your work. Decaying structures seem to open up a space for transformation. It doesn't seem as if it was something that was rotten. At least it seems to me like this, as if there was a crack for a new beginning, a creative gap. Is that something that you looked for in your work? You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, I thought I pressed the button already. Okay. Yes and no at the same time. I agree that decay is present in my work, and I think it's omnipresent when we enter the outside world and also even the inside world sometimes. So it's something which for me in the surroundings where I take the pictures, it is there, but it's not a work on decay because even if it's always there in some extent, it's not a work about the decay. I think this would be a bit too boring for me to go outside and take this kind of pictures, and I probably would go and look for abandoned factories, etc., and do that kind of pictures, which is not the case. I mainly focus on light and on composition, and I try to make photographs that are strong in a way in based on these two criteria. Now, what's interesting about the decay is the pictorial qualities of it. Now, because we can find this, well, it's always some kind of when you it's difficult to explain. It's a matter of contrast, and contrast in many terms. So if you have something newly built and something which is falling more or less apart next to each other, it creates a contrast. And within this realities, I try to find my photographic subjects.
So it's more an aesthetic kind of approach.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's not a thematic. It's not a subject-based work. Yeah.
But I thought it really matched very well, because the pictures that you have in this exhibition you show the structures that are like falling down or decaying, and next to it you have nature that is quite strong also in colors. So is that also like the contrast that you look for, also like, you know, in the colors that yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's always the question if I do a picture in black and white or in color. And the series I'm showing in this exhibition, it's always the pictures are all in color, and there's plenty of reasons for it, because the color do add something to the picture or to the experience you can make of the picture. And you mentioned nature, and nature, of course, this is the places I take pictures are always in the urban or semi-urban areas where nature takes back its realms, and it's always action, reaction on reaction, etc. So decay is part of it, and color in this case is a big part of it too.
And do you come back to the places that you took pictures after a while? Or?
Yeah, many often, but it's not always possible. Sometimes the places are too far.
Okay.
But I'm interested in going back, and I do sometimes take pictures when I'm back, and so you see also what time does with the place, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in this in the title of the exhibition, the Lepsze Jutro, das bessere Morgen, the better tomorrow, the time factor is also there.
Yes.
And and of course it's kind of a hope, but we will come back to this topic at the end of our talk. Maybe I pass to Joanna now, so that yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, dear all, I'm very thankful that you are a part of this project, especially the artist, and you, Natalie, Eva, and Oliver as well. I would like to ask Aleksandra, because we know each other, we work together, but I'm still very curious. What do you think, and what do you mean the better tomorrow? So you focus on allotment. Let's say that happiness in a little world, separated, isolated, yet in a collective. How do you see the individual small space in relation to the bigger, the collective? Would that be something you would like to explore, thinking about the better tomorrow?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this question. First of all, I'd like to mention that the concept of allotment gardens actually, in a historical context, it was a collective one. In Germany, so also in Breslau, in Wrocław, the very influential idea was a Schrebergarten. And in these Schrebergarten projects, the public space, which was kind of a square with social activities, was surrounded by allotment plots. So I really like the projects in which these individual allotments are a part of a bigger public space, for example, like public parks. And in Wrocław, not only this one allotment complex, which I photograph, I mean the Better Tomorrow complex, but also there is also another one which calls Rod Wytchnienie, which I really like. And Rod Wytchnienie actually is a public park with some individual allotments. And it is also important that this idea of linking individual plots with public space was forgotten in Wrocław in a time of the transformation, so after 1989. But fortunately nowadays, this community garden movement developed, and many grassroots initiatives are working on making these spaces accessible again. Also in this the Lepsze Jutro, this better tomorrow allotments, which we are speaking about. So I see this place of the better tomorrow, these allotments. I'd like to see them as a very diversified space that contains this space for communal gardens, as well as more intimate and these individual plots. I can't hear you, Joanna.
Sorry, now I'm unmute. Do you think and do you feel that people that have the contact with the living in nature now in pandemic time are the privileged?
Yes, for sure, it's kind of a privilege, especially in Poland, when 1 year ago there was a time when parks were closed. So people even couldn't go outside to public parks because they were closed. So only people who had this access to allotments had access to nature, natural environment.
Yeah, and I feel the same. That contact with the living green of nature became one of the most urgent human needs, especially now. Yeah,
and during this time, these allotments are very popular, and you could see it when it was the first lockdown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie. Now I switch the...
I will unmute. Yeah, we are very, very lucky in this exhibition because it's an exhibition project, and we not only have two great visual artists, two photographers, but also two musicians, which is a very, very interesting thing to listen to the music and see the pictures in the same time. So now I would like to ask Silke. Silke, are you on?
Hello.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
on.
Oh, okay. I hope you will be big in a second, big on the screen. So yes, during the lockdown, we were all restricted to our very nearest surroundings. In Berlin, it was not that hard because when they put on this new restriction that you were not allowed to move more than 15 kilometers from your home. In Berlin, it meant from the edge of the city, so it was quite, it was not that bad, but still it was a restriction for a lot of people. So we were not able to really explore the environment as we maybe are used to in normal times. So how was it for you to see these pictures by Lukas and Aleksandra? What in these visual in these visual inspiration led you to your composition?
Yes. So hello, everybody. First, so for me, I miss art very much. So after 1 year of pandemic, I really miss it, and I miss art in daily life. So normally, I always have many opportunities to be inspired. And so therefore I was very grateful for this invitation and this special approach. So I got the material. So first I got the material of Lukas, and then I let it work on me. And so this work gave me inspiration, like so immediately, I have to say. And so with this sparseness, so this was a big inspiration for me, the sparseness of these motifs. So and then I came the pictures by Aleksandra, and there I was really inspired by this special colorfulness. So yes, this is the first, so you can really go into it. So I took the pictures and went with the pictures to my rehearsal room, and there I began to just improvise first, and then I developed some materials, and then from this I developed some motives. So then I recorded the motives, and then I resorted the motives in a way. So, and I cannot say 100% which motive or which little thing in my music was, or musical parameters were inspired by how exactly influenced by which kind of the pictures. But what I can say is that the music is would not have become as it is without
the pictures,
templates in a way.
What I also wanted to ask you, it was only my very personal impression that when I looked at Aleksandra's pictures, I had I really in me there was a wish to travel, to see things from above, you know. And when I saw Lukas' pictures, I really had had a strong wish to grab something with my fingers, like to touch things. You talked about the structure, Lukas, yeah, and all these things. So I thought that it was quite strong with me. Maybe also because we are not allowed to touch so many things, or if we do, we have to, you know, really disinfect. And was it also something, because I had the impression that in your music also it was very hands-on, or, you know, it was very direct. How did you feel this? It seemed very analog, what you did, you know, listening very. What was your association?
Yes. No, so my music is not only an analog part. So I play. Of course, my accordion is very analog instrument in a way, but also very mechanical thing. Yeah. So, but I also work with electronic parameters normally. So I don't know if you. So if you listen to Better Tomorrow, I put some little synthesizer sounds into my my work.
I meant
that's what you mean. So because first I started to do it like only with my accordion, like analog, and then I think now I need something, and perhaps is this what you talked about? Yeah. So I but in my opinion, so these both words are not exclusive. So with my accordion, I can immediately implement musical ideas. So I'm a little bit slower with when I do this so I need more time to do this with my electronic sounds. So I need a little bit longer to make my ideas work. So, but in the best case, I can work with both elements in a musical way. So that's what are my plans. And so, but perhaps it's a little bit like for me to put these two words a little bit together. So this very also with this works by the photographies. So I try to put both words together. Yeah, in my music.
It's too bad that we cannot see you doing this, because I think that accordion is quite, you know, the touch is very a very strong visual thing in itself, actually, when I usually play. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we hear what Hubert has to say, and then yeah, then we will have another question for you.
Yeah. Hubert, are you there?
Yes.
Hey.
Hey.
In your musical piece, Emergetyki, which we choose for the exhibition Better Tomorrow, you mostly process field recordings. How the lockdown experience affected the way you make music? Did the city sound different to you during the lockdown?
I'm really privileged person because we are renting a house in pretty luxury district in Wrocław, which is like northwest, nearby Olympic Stadium, nearby Szczetnicki Park. So it's really, you can have an impression that it's actually a longer distance to the city center than actually is, and this city noise is. You can notice, but actually my experience is pretty like a kind of a village experience. I feel I hear mostly birds and I see plants around, like on Aleksandra pictures.
Lucky you.
Excuse me?
Lucky you.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm also not complaining about lack of social life because we're renting a house together with friends. So it didn't change much, especially that I'm a freelancer. I'm working mostly at home. I'm feeling weird with that feeling that I'm so privileged to be distanced to pandemic, and I'm keeping myself busy to be aware of some experiences. But in the same time, I'm missing a social life. I'm missing this noise of crowds on the event. I'm feeling more like an organizer, and I'm organizing events. I'm organizing conditions for artists to perform. So this changed a lot. And actually, pandemic time was a time that I had to give myself right to also call myself an artist. I mean, I'm playing in a band since over 12 years on a guitar. Electronics was always my dream or my task, and I could make this task finally during pandemic because I had more time. I had to work by myself. It's more difficult to play in a band, play shows, and so yeah, I started to compose to keep myself busy. I participated in this scholarship program of President of Wrocław, so that was the opportunity to finally shut down some chapter of my electronical works. But in the same time, I'm totally focused on the physicality of a sound. I can rely to Silke. I can rely actually to this photographic works. Actually, I like the materiality of the sound. I like to feel the instrument, or imagine an instrument who produced this sound when I hear the sound. This is how I play on the guitar. This is how I improvise. This is how I'm composing electronics or processing field recordings. But in the same time, I don't feel that my work has something to do with pandemic, or there's a story about pandemic and alienation. Actually, I'm trying to escape from that feeling, and I'm not ready to get into that issue and to work with that by art. Or if I want to work with that, I want to work with other people. I'm not alone. I would love to make some art project or some composition or to play something which is inspired by this experience of pandemic. But I would love to make it social in some cooperation, not alone. That's maybe my answer. I collected this field recording since years, and yeah, I cut it out myself of this experience of pandemic. I just escaped these compositions.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe it's now a question to both of you, because you relied to the pictures, to the photography. Yes, I mean, it's Silke and Hubert. You relied to the photography, but then you heard also the music of the other. So Silke heard Hubert's music and Hubert heard Silke's music. Did that also change your reception of the photography and of your own work?
So it was so interesting for me to listen to Hubert's work, and I really liked it. And I didn't listen to it before I did my own. So this is but I was I was impressed how different it is. But I really like, and I think it in a way you can combine these two works, and it's for me it was. It was really interesting that both is working. So even if it's different, so yeah.
Mm.
This both pictures, like both shots of the reality are pretty high contrast. So I think in our compositions also we can combine two different feelings, because Aleksandra works are more, for me, like utopian in the way, even when it's artifacts. Superficially, you feel like that this is how the city should be designed, like a garden. Lukas' work, it's more like this emptiness, dysfunctionality of structures, and the nature in the background. So I'm recognizing these shots in our compositions. I think with Silke we have this thing in common, that there is this feeling of some materiality, physical instrument behind. Obviously Silke uses accordion, so this is really physical instrument and spectacular, and I like to experience that sound and how you did it. I was more like creating artificial feeling of such a mechanisms behind the sounds, what I used. So it was more like imaginary ecosystem or something like that. But I think the both compositions fits, that they have a kind of a dramatism too, dystopian dramatism maybe. I have this emotion when I experience pictures and music together.
You said something like a network, and I also was thinking about a garden. When you plant seeds, and then you see what comes out, and then you cross the two plants with one another, and then something else comes out. It's a little bit like in this project, because we had the pictures and the music came. Then you also listened to each other. So I would like to ask what also Lukas and Aleksandra, when you heard the music to your pictures, did you see the pictures in a different way, or maybe you even found some details or a kind of reception or perspective that you didn't have before? Lukas or Aleksandra?
So I was very surprised both of them, and I really like both music, both artists, and they are very different, because the music of Hubert is much more dark. There's more darkness, and in Silke music is more some kind of spark, and it's more shining. And I really like this contrast, because actually I think that in my pictures you can find these both emotions. And many times some people were telling me that actually before I didn't see this dark part, and it was something that. Another people just told me that there is this kind of darkness, and that's great that Hubert also saw it and put this music. And it's also hard for me to find something new in these pictures, because they are mine, and I took them a few years ago, and I know them so well. So it is really hard to find something new. But I heard from another people from the audience that they found something new thanks to the music. So that's really great. Thank you.
Yes,
for me it was similar, but it was especially with Silke's music piece, that I found that my pictures had a very uncanny or nearly scary content, and that was really funny for me to discover. And I'm really thankful also for this idea of this online exhibition, that there is music, because the experience you would have in front of a picture in a show, when the picture is hanging on a wall, it's completely lost when you have it on the screen. My pictures are not designed and made to be seen on a screen. During a very long time, I didn't even have a website, and I kind of didn't want my pictures to be displayed or discovered, let's say, first discovered in this on a screen with 72 dpi. But with the music of Hubert and Silke, it gives another way of reading the picture, and it really adds something. And I have to admit, I was surprised by this power the music has on the pictures, and so I'm really happy, and I think it's a very nice project, and this is something new to me, because I have never had this kind of online exhibition, and yeah, so this is a good experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. We also want to open up the discussion with to a larger range, not only music and photography. Oliver,
yeah,
are you still there? Yes,
I'm still there, and I'm very happy about this discussion too. It seems that even though we all miss traveling, we miss art, we miss encounters and meeting, but we still can share some experience with the internet. But it brings up the question, and I think Hubert has already mentioned this relation to the outside world, which usually is audience for us. Usually we are producing something together to reach out to an audience. And my question really is, how can this project maybe state an example? Because one day I hope we will all go back to classical exhibitions and classical, real life encounters. But how can this exhibition be a bridge? And what was your experience in this experimental setup? That one day we will be leaving screens again and coming back to classical venues or galleries or concert halls. And maybe Hubert can start, because I think he's already on the run to the next event. I heard it, at least in his words.
I think not really. I mean, there's no events now planned. It's more just I have some recordings and some cooperations on the way. For me, making music or making art is a social thing. So definitely, I'm not feeling right as a like only composer. So this project definitely creates some opportunity to have a interaction. This is what I don't like about online performances, that mostly it's hard to have this magic which comes from interaction, and you can observe the kind of a feedback. You can notice that when you performing live to the screen, you don't know anything, and there is a big emptiness on the other side. So I'm not so convinced to this kind of online performances. Such a cooperation like this gives me a distance, that the material is prepared, and I can meditate or come back to this on my own conditions. Also as an artist, but also I can imagine. Also, I can feel like a witness of something that it's not only mine. When I today even I was listening these pieces, and I was watching these pictures. I was all the time. I had a feeling that I would do something else now, actually, with the different dynamics. But yeah, this is how it works. it's hard for me to imagine the world after pandemic, or it's hard for me to plan anything. I can plan only the record session, but it's in such a bubble that, we worked with my band on the material we're working since 2 years. So we want to finally close down this process and have a record, but it's a bubble. Even as an organizer, I completely dropped the thinking about planning some events, meeting some people, being in the public spaces. I'm not living with this life now. So I just focus on something else. It's hard for me to answer on these questions. It's really abstract feeling. It's abstract to plan something. So my plans are not really stable, and I'm just feeling pretty often that I'm not working well with these plans, because I don't believe that they will happen. Everything can change all the time. They're opening museums, they're shutting down museums. What kind of conditions going to be in 2 months? I don't know. So I prefer to be distanced to that, such opportunities, and just create something for myself, keep myself busy.
Well, thank you, Hubert. And what about the others? Did you get any feedback from audience to this exhibition? Did you receive whatever emails or calls or Facebook or something? Aleksandra?
Only from some of my friends. So I also feel I'm feeling this lack of feedback. A few of my friends told me that they saw it, and I actually don't know how many people saw it and what they think. But these few guys were saying that it was very good to combine pictures and music. So it works well, but I really miss this feedback.
And I'm sure for the performing artist Silke, it's even more difficult to live or work without, or work with the lack of communication to audience, I guess.
Yes, it is. And this, but what I like on projects like this is that I have the opportunity to meet new artists, to collaborate with other artists. But because in the moment I do a lot of work. I record like Hubert, and I plan, and I reorganize and organize, and so I never know what will happen. So but I always had this dream to do this live. I don't know why. So I really like the way, and I like the presentation a lot. But I also have in mind to see the pictures on a great white wall and listen to the music. And so it's so this is a dream. And after a year of pandemic, I really miss live concerts, of course, and I really miss the resonance between the audience and the artists. And so if I do live stream concerts, for me it's perhaps it's easier for me than for the audience, because when I do with an ensemble or so, I do live stream, I'm not alone, and for me it's not so important if there are like 2 viewers or 2,000. So perhaps for me these live stream concerts are easier for me than for the people at home. So but but I'm very thankful for projects like this, I have to say.
Well, I'm very optimistic that we will continue this project with the artists from Wrocław and Breslau as soon as the train is running. We just have to keep our fingers crossed that it will be in April or May or latest June. Okay, thank you.
Before Lukas has to leave soon, I would like to ask another question, because it really fits in very well to what Oliver was talking about. You already mentioned that you didn't even really want to show your pictures on screens or in the internet. You didn't even have a website. So now, for a year now, with a small interruption, you could not show your work in galleries. Has it changed the way you take your pictures? Or do you anticipate the possibility that you will have to show them on the screen, or did it not affect you at all?
No. First, I did have shows. I did have shows in the past 12 months. There were shows that were on their way. Planned for 24 months before, and the museums were able to open. Unfortunately, they had to close. Had to close down after a few weeks only. But I did have actually constant presentations in galleries or museums. So I was always keep going with the production, with the organization of the shows, etc. And for me, I am optimistic enough to believe that this situation is going to change in the next couple of months, and that it's going to be back to some kind of normality. I think we have to believe in this, because otherwise I don't know. Personally, I would go nuts if I didn't have the faith in something that is going to be better again soon. So I keep on working the way I did. I planned 2 shows for April now in Switzerland. The shipping of the works is end of March. I don't know if the shows are going to open, because of course we all observe the infection rates, etc. But I have to believe in it, and if it's not going to be now, then probably it's going to be later, and I have to produce the work anyway. I'm not changing my way of working just because of the pandemic. This would, for me.
Yeah, maybe it was also not so much the pandemic, but sometimes it's like this, that like a situation that is restricted also opens up for things that we have to overcome, and that this also has an effect on how we work, in all arts and in all different kind of settings. So I was just curious if there was an effect, because when we talked about the presentation of your works and also of Aleksandra's works, we realized that the format that you have given was a complete different one, and you always, when you scroll down, then we were not able to see the whole pictures of you. So it was clear that it was made for an exhibition. And Aleksandra Nowysz's pictures were like this, that they even filled, they just filled the screen, and we didn't have to scroll. So we were talking a lot about this. Aleksandra, do you also think about this internet presentation, or was this digital world before the pandemic no real condition for you?
Yes, I thought about it. But, pictures of the better tomorrow I took far before the lockdown, and I really like to show these pictures as big prints, because there is much on detail going on. So I think that this computer screen it's too small, and it's not enough to display this picture as well. But that's the condition. But the current situation, pandemic situation, impacts my work too. For example, I planned to go for a residency to Japan, but I can't. I haven't gone yet because of pandemic. So I started to work on this project by using another tool. I started to use a Google Street View tool instead of my personal camera. So yeah, it influenced my work this way, but I still hope that in the future I will have an opportunity to go there and to take pictures too.
Okay. Yeah. So we were all talking about our hopes for what will come. And I think we all hope the hope dies last. So Joanna Stembalska, it was not only the name of the allotments that inspired this exhibition, but also the thought behind it. So maybe you say something about the whole project of Better Tomorrow, because it was your curated work, right? So
yeah. So the title of allotments, the Better Tomorrow, it was only the beginning, but I think it's not only the utopia, and I really believe for Better Tomorrow, and that project is kind of hope for me, for you, for us. So I just wanted to ask you all artists, how do you feel? How do you imagine the better tomorrow? Hubert, can you start?
I guess I can definitely start from this. What has to be reconsidered? We have to reconsider our way how our structures works, and that's the biggest difficulty. I think that the big global question is what kind of economic model we should replace this what we have now, this model which is completely unsustainable. The climate crisis or pandemic, they showed lack of structures, even, we could say, like in this post-political world. So for me, it's hard to be optimistic. In the same time, of course, I have a political hope to change that, but we need to take some lessons. I'm really angry on post-politics and all these politicians which are pretending that they are not politicians just to not take responsibility for the positions what they have in power structures. In the same time, I'm angry about this fetishization of tools or non-violent horizontal communication. I feel the lack of the deeper questions. What does it mean emancipation? What does it mean horizontal way of organizing? What does it mean autonomy or sustainability? I guess all these questions, we need to raise these questions. We need to find the right answers to make our social structures effective, to find the solutions for all these problems. And it's so complex and it's so big that the individual can feel really like overwhelmed and powerless. So when I think about the better tomorrow, I think about like a really big transformation. And these pictures, Aleksandra and Lukas, actually they show the two sides of this process. In the superficial look, they give me some emotions about this, what is already here, and what we should develop or reconsider in designing our cities, in designing our being here in the context of naked nature, which is in the background all the time, and actually now reminding us about itself, that our civilization is only the way how we organize the nature and how we're trying to survive. I guess in this web society and this digital interactions, we can forget about this naked nature status. We can romanticize nature from the one side, or we can have this illusion that we have a full control of this. And yeah, like the big question is about how we organize our structures, how we design our world, our surrounding, our environment. So this pictures definitely give some emotion and some kind of plots about in this thinking.
Thank you. Lukas, maybe I will ask you before you go.
Yeah, I agree with Hubert on many of all of his things he said. I mean, I think we have to think in a small scale and also in the larger scale that we can imagine. And I hope that that people can see this situation we're in, this pandemic situation, as a chance and try to give it a twist and get a lot of positive energy out of it and turn things that didn't work well in the past, turn them in something that works better on all these topics that Hubert just listed. Yeah, I think that in many belongings this is going to happen, and yeah.
Okay.
We need a better tomorrow, that's for sure.
Silke, maybe you will tell us about your better tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Hubert and Lukas, they mentioned so many things, and I feel the same. So I hope that there is, hope is a good word, perhaps. I think this this pandemic situation for a lot of persons, I think it shows what's not working more than before, and for me, it's the hope that a lot of people try to work as good as they can. So this is perhaps what I can say.
Yeah, thank you.
Working on this project, actually, I was trying to answer the question you asked. And speaking about urban planning, I wanted to say that urbanity, or more city, I wanted to say something about what is city, what is the definition of a city. That it doesn't have to be a space that is totally constructed, landscape that is totally made by human, but also it could interwoven with natural landscape. And if we speak about cities, we can see them more not as a space, like a physical space, but more as relations, like social relations, activities, political and social relations. And to do this, you don't need to put concrete everywhere. Yes, you can also think about this city landscape more like in these agrarian utopias that were also inspiration for me. So that's also another part of this project. This idea of utopia, of place where you can live, but also produce food. So you need a garden with plants that are also edible. So this project is also about this. And so I see this better tomorrow. To sum it up, I think it must be more ethical in environmental and social meaning.
No, again, thank you. And I feel the same, that we have to change our behaves. And but I have hope for better tomorrow when we are thinking about this. What are we doing? And how we live with others, with nature, with our mother nature.
I would also like to say something that I've seen in your pictures, in both pictures, in both works, in Aleksandra's and also in Lukas, that the city is not the enemy, because as we know, people like the amount of human beings and of mankind is rising. So cities are like have the potential to actually save the world, because if everyone is going to buy a new ground and build a house, then the whole system will collapse. So and as you said, you know, the intelligent city, or the city that even that includes nature, that includes that leaves the creative gap for nature, is actually something that is quite important for a better tomorrow. And I thought that in different perspectives, but that this was really visible in the photography and also in the music, especially in Hubert's music. Maybe it was also more the longing for noise of others that the co-living or the cooperation and the coexistence of people and nature is possible. And maybe that is something that we should focus on in this, on our all better tomorrow. Yeah. And also something that was quite visible. I don't know if it was also so visible in Wrocław, but because of the declining airplanes and flights, you very often had a very blue sky in Berlin. You didn't have the airplane traces in the sky. And I thought sometimes when I was looking at the sky, maybe it really is something like you all said, that the pandemic shows what went wrong, so that we can all fix it and actually take care of a better future and a better tomorrow. What do you think, Joanna, as the curator of the better tomorrow?
As I said, as I mentioned, I really believe in better tomorrow, but everything depends on us. We are responsible for the better tomorrow.
I think that's a beautiful last word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something that it really teaches us that we are responsible for ourselves. And as Hubert said, that when we all were confronted by this problem, that we make plan A, plan B, plan C, and then very, very quickly we have to have a plan D. So maybe it's also something that these times teach us, that it's good to have some concept, but it should be enough flexible, so that we can adjust to the situation. Yeah, and that is something that also I think teaches us a lot more cooperation, even if we are very isolated right now. But still, the communication with others and adjusting to others is something that I think has grown. What do you think, Oliver?
Well, I'm sticking with plan C for creativity and cooperation.
Cool.
And what I like is that creation and creativity, and as well as artistic creativity as natural creation, binds together urban and non-urban spaces. And I think we should really use our two legs, one in the city and one outside, to use this plan C power to use creativity in both terms, really, as cultural workers, but also as taking nature as an example.
So 2 legs and 1 big C.
And a lot of arts and
a lot of arts
coming back to get together.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Thank you.
really. Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
dear all. It's really nice to see you, even via internet. But I hope we will see soon.
And as Oliver said, we are quite hopeful that the culture train is going to run this spring. And we would very, very much like to invite you all to an artist talk on the train. I don't know how big the prints can be on the train.
Very big, very big, very big.
Very, very big. But yes, it's you feel the collective riding on the train in a very special way, because it's it's an audience that is quite open, and sometimes also by coincidence people who would not maybe go to a gallery but are very, very happy to see it when they are on the train. So it's a very, very special atmosphere, and I hope we are going to see each other this spring with a beautiful blue sky.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
All the best for your projects going on, for your pending projects.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, guys.
Have a nice day. Stay healthy.
Nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.